All right, welcome everyone into the relaunch of the Bluefield College Coaches Show. Hey. Thank you guys all for coming out to the Bluefield, Virginia Applebee's. My name is Bailey Engel. I'm the voice of Bluefield College, and with me I have maybe the most famous man at Bluefield College, the baseball coach Mike White in his 15th season. More applause for the head coach. All right, Coach. First of all, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
What did you think of the series, dropping 2 of the 3 games to Thomas More?
Great question. We've got to play a little better. When you really break down what went on, and we went back and looked at the video today, we just got to play a little better. You hate to say that you give stuff away, but we really felt like we probably should have won 2 of 3. And could have very easily won all 3 games. But on the other hand, we were fortunate to win the one that we did the way we played.
Right.
We've got to clean some things up defensively, and I think we're a little bit better ball club than what we showed this weekend.
Yesterday, unfortunately for Bluefield, you guys held a 9-3 lead, and Thomas More came back to win. What is something that your team can learn from a situation like that?
If you don't handle the baseball up the middle, you don't win. I think it just comes down to, we had a couple of chances at 9-3 to, I think, bases loaded, 1 out. We rolled into a double play. So we really had a chance right there to put that game away. And we missed that opportunity. And then I think there in the middle innings, we kind of got lackadaisical offensively and went away for a few innings. And, to their credit, they continued to apply pressure to us. And we didn't respond to it real well, just to be honest.
Right. Even though you gave up a lead in some of these games, it's still not, the banner start to the season as far as injuries go. You guys have had a lot of guys dinged up in the lineup from the start of the season. It's almost like the lineup is brand new going into this weekend's games against Thomas More. How does that challenge you as a coach?
First time in 22 years we've been this banged up. I think going into this coming weekend, we'll finally have our Game 1 lineup back on the field together. We're yet to have all those guys back. We're looking I think we've had 9 or 10 separate injuries. So it's a challenge. But that being said, it's also a blessing because it allows you to see if some of the other guys, some of your backline guys are able to step up and play. And so that, it gives some guys some opportunities to get some reps and see where we're at when those things do happen.
Well, who are some of the guys that have impressed you so far?
I think, if you really sit down and look at it, Ozzie Millett's had a great start to the season. Offensively, he's really carrying us right now. You got to look behind the plate. George Corbello and Joseph Cardona have both been steady back there. Andreas Holzer offensively is starting to step it up. So I think we're starting to get going. We're starting to get to that, what I call the 50 at-bat rule, where you find out if guys are going to be able to handle the challenges that are put in front of them.
What about the pitching staff?
Well, we've had our days. I think Nathan Cutler has really stepped up. We've been nicked up there, with Spencer Ambrose going down, and Ben Kaufman has been a little nicked up, and we're just starting to get him back and going. And, Justin Coleman on the back end of the pen coming off the Tommy John. We've been really impressed with him so far, really pleased with where he's at. Velocity starting to come back up. Command of the zone's good. Nathan Cutler, I think he had a little rough this weekend, was a little rough for him, but up until that time had been excellent, and we don't expect anything less out of him. Presbot, Nathan Presbot, the new kid we picked up at Christmas, is starting to figure out what we're doing. We got to get him to get more command in the zone. But when he does that, I think he'll see a lot of benefits.
Well, Coach, we had a little bit of time to talk right before we actually started the show, and I want to take this moment as a bit of time to reflect because I feel like we haven't been able to do that as much. 15th year as the head coach of Bluefield College. Is there something that you have changed about yourself as a coach in that time, over a decade?
Former players will tell you I'm a lot softer. I'm a little more laid back than I used to be.
What did you do that you weren't laid back?
Oh, just very intense. I think as we age, as adults, it calms us down a little bit, and I think I've learned to let the process play out. Just relax. There's nothing I can do. I can't play anymore. Can't run. Can't throw. Can't hit.
You sure?
Can't hit. My back bothers me. I'm going to be down for a week. But I think you just got to let them play. I think that maturity comes along, and you got to understand it. And the athletes, the cultures have changed. You know, what was acceptable 15 years ago is not acceptable now. And so we have to change with those times to be able to get the best out of our players. You know, not that one way's right or one way's wrong. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just our players we're just different. We're all different.
Right. I mean, you know, obviously things have changed a lot in those 15 years, but moving forward, what do you think is something that maybe has changed about the game of baseball in that time as well?
I don't think the game's really changed. I mean, I think it's still the same. Still 60 feet 6 inches. Still 90 feet to first.
Right.
I think that's one of the great things about the game is it's not really changed in that respect. Now, I think from an athletic standpoint, it's changed. You're seeing more guys. You're seeing more power arms, whereas 90 miles an hour used to be the benchmark. Now it's the average.
Right.
So I mean, I think you're seeing a better conditioned athlete, and it's even trickling down to the NAIA level. So I think the competition's as good as it's ever been, and I think the game's as solid as it's ever been.
Let's talk about that competition for a second. You yourself were a college baseball player at UVA Wise. What were you like as a baseball player?
Oh, that's a great question. I go back and I tell our guys some of the war stories that they really don't want to hear. I think you talk to them about being a good teammate, being able to lead by example. I probably could have done that a little bit better as a player. I was very intense, played for a gentleman, Ray Spinella, who was very intense, very hard on us. I think it was the tough love mentality that he had with us. So it was, I wish sometimes if you could go back and do it over, I'd have probably been a little bit better teammate. I think we could have probably gotten more out of some guys that we had I been able to do that.
You had a slight brush with playing professional baseball as spring training starts up. Let's talk about that. What exactly was it like? You were in the Phillies organization for a little bit, correct?
Just a fuzz, yeah. Just a fuzz. It was great. I mean, but, and one of the things that happened to me was my skill set had matured as far as it was going to go. So, you get those opportunities. You're blessed to have them, and you're thankful for what you got. You really don't realize what you got when you do have it. But, you're thankful for it, and you move on. It was a learning experience.
Yeah. Well, that's what life does to you, right? You just learn as you go and learn what you need to do. Being connected with the Blue Jays, and for those of you guys that don't know, Mike White actually leads up the field crew for the local minor league team here at Bluefield Blue Jays, the rookie affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. Is there anything that you've taken from being around professional baseball that you factor into being a coach of the Bluefield College Rams?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's been pretty cool because for the longest time we had a gentleman here named Dennis Holmberg who was our manager.
Yeah.
And Dennis is a great guy. And you watch, some of the things that he does with how he deals with player issues and how he manages the short season. And how he lets them play and some of the organizational skills that he brings into play. And what we really try to do with Garrett and Thomas, my assistants, is run it like he runs it. The practices are very similar. So, if we ever have that student athlete who gets the opportunity to move on and play, he's going to know how these things move. And the structure of how things go from point A to point B to point C. Is what I think I've learned the most with it, and then it goes back to the communication with the players. How do we get? We're going to do our work, for an old adage, Monday through Friday, in practice, and then when we get game time, you got to cut them loose and let them play. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've taken away from him. When it's time to play, let them play, address the issues in practice.
Well, Mike, you've been a great guest, and I want to finish off with my favorite part, the lightning round of questions we have here. Just simple questions and get to learn a little bit more about the head coach of baseball, Mike White. Okay. Mike White, what is your favorite movie?
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham? Okay. People are excited about Bull Durham. Okay. If there's anyone in history that you could have dinner with, who would it be?
Great one. Thomas Jefferson.
Funniest guy on the baseball team?
Colton Bockler.
Who is the worst at field maintenance on the baseball team?
Thomas Huddleston.
Why?
He hates the rake.
Okay. What's your favorite baseball memory ever? Little League through right now.
Get it to go back. It's two. The first Little League home run or the Billy Funk walk-off in the Christian College World Series to win it.
And finally, for Mike White, what is your favorite thing about Bluefield College?
The people.
Mike White, everybody, head coach of Bluefield Baseball. Hey, thanks. All right, next up we have the softball coach here at Bluefield College, and it's Drew Bailey. Come on in. Favorite part about the Bluefield College Coaches Show, the awkward scoot in. Let's see. Yeah, we should be good. No, you're all right. All right, everybody. Drew Bailey, head coach of softball here at Bluefield College. Coach Bailey, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
One day at a time.
What did you make of the weekend? You guys just went 3-1.
A couple different things. We played 4 games in basically 26, 28 hours. So, we learned that not only we were tired, but we fought. We fought through a little bit of adversity. And, it was good to see. Extra innings on the road is never easy. And we had every opportunity to either blow it or win it a couple different times, and we figured out a way to get it done and made some really good defensive plays that I really didn't think we made last year very often. So, it was encouraging just the resiliency to continue to fight, 38-degree weather, 12-inning game. That was good to see.
That's great. Can you just move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth so everybody can hear you?
There we
about
go.
there.
There
That's
we
great.
go. Okay.
Who were some of the players that stood out to you?
Oh, man. We pitched really well. Lexi Harmon threw really well in game 1. We just didn't get the bats going. Lakin Sparks threw 12 innings. Lauren Bailey caught 12 innings behind the plate. So defensively, though, on the left side, you got to be good. You've got to be good on the left side in college softball, and we've got 2 freshmen playing over there, so they're going to make some mistakes. But we made a lot of plays. Kristen Storr, a senior center fielder, made a diving catch. It was a little bit of everybody kind of chipped in, but we got to make plays, routine plays, and we talk about that all the time. And it's kind of tough because I want to get on them about making those routine plays, but when you've only been outside 3 times,
right.
It's you try and take it easy on them. And but I'm definitely proud of them. 3 wins, conference wins to come out of the weekend. We took care of business. So
You just hinted at something I want to talk about, and it's the fact that you've only been outside 3 times, and everybody knows the weather in Bluefield is pretty awful right now.
Right.
How
right.
are you able to get better when you can't really even play on the softball field half the time?
Right. We just, we just try and control what we can control and get as many swings in. We do a little 300 series every day after practice. We hit 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 V-ups. Just do some body weight stuff. We use my indoor facility, and we get as many swings in as we can, and we run stations. And, we do all that we're allowed to do. So tomorrow is supposed to be 58 and try and get outside and get some reps in. So we'll see.
How's that indoor facility grind been for you?
It's good. It's a little bit of I get both sides of it. I'm trying to obviously I'm running my own business, but I want to make it good for the girls and my team and give us a resource that we haven't had before. So just trying to renovate that. I'm still in the process. We'll have almost 4,000 square feet, couple cages. We got another side, put my weight room stuff in. So we've got a lot more space than we've had in the past to get some work in.
Tracking back a little bit, you mentioned in the second game against Columbia College that Lakin Sparks, she pitched all 12 innings. How is she able to do that?
Well, if this would have been baseball, somebody would have had my head. But,
right.
It's a little bit different. It was 38 degrees. Lakin's a champ. She went out there and she kept throwing, making pitches, and definitely proud of her. But she wasn't coming out. I wasn't taking her out. Maybe after the 12th. I don't know. We'll see. But it's nice this year because I've got 2 freshmen and Maddie Kuntz and Taylor Nunn that when we play Allen after we just played 19 innings the night before, I don't have to run Lexi and Lakin back out. So you saw last year, Lexi threw 100 plus 80 innings, Lakin threw 120 plus, and that's all we had. So it's nice to be able to keep them a little bit fresher. Lexi got tired last year when Lakin was really starting to pick up after her ACL. So we've got some girls in place that can really help them stay healthy.
We have Lexi Harmon coming on right after you. What is something you like about her play so far this year?
Lexi played at a really high level, Division I JUCO in Florida, so she's not really phased. We've got good talent in our league, so I don't mean anything negatively by that. But she comes to battle every night or every day, and she just pitches her butt off, and she can hit. Obviously, you've seen the stats; she can swing it, but she doesn't really get rattled much. She just goes out there and she does her job.
Year 2 for you. You're a guy that obviously played baseball at Concord. You've coached at Averett. You've coached at Bluefield College. And I asked you this last year. It's obviously a transition coaching two different sports. What's it like for you in year 2 of the transition? Have you learned anything?
I think when I first came in, I made the switch. I was definitely a little nervous. I'd never coached girls before, but at the end of the day, I think coaching's coaching, and you've got to be a chameleon as a coach, and you've got to adapt to personalities and figure out what motivates each individual girl. And I've really set out this year to I don't want to yell as much. I just want to teach. I want to teach them. I want to show them I care about them, and just try and use everything as a learning moment, whether it's about softball or life. But it's good. It's good. I think, with guys sometimes it's more about what you know, and I think with girls it's you got to show that you care about them first and they trust you before they ever even really care what from an IQ standpoint about the game. They don't really care about that as much to start. They got to know that they can trust you and that you care about them, and you're going to have their backs, and I think that's important.
We were able to reflect with Mike White just a few seconds ago, so I want to do the same with you, Coach. You're a college baseball player at Concord. What exactly was your college baseball experience?
My first, I pitched at Christiansburg High School, and we were very average, maybe below average at my time there, and they're doing a good job there anyways. But I threw a ball outer half of the plate, and this just makes me always think about college baseball, and I'm like, man, I gave up another hit. And I turn around, and we got an All-American shortstop playing behind me, and I'm like, okay, he's out. I like this. This is good. This is good. I can get used to this. So it was good. Coach Garrett, who's the head coach at Concord, really instilled in me just mental toughness and just being resilient and facing adversity. And we had a good career over there. We won, 100 games, played in a couple NCAA playoffs, and made some of my best friends in life. But, he helped prepare me, to be a better person, to be a better father, husband, whatever it is. He just really helped me a lot.
So you also had a cup of coffee in professional baseball with the A's organization, played as high as the Vermont Lake Monsters, correct? Mm-hmm. What is something that you learned in your professional baseball experience to allow you to be a coach?
I think – again, I went back to talking about showing the girls that, I care about them, that I love them. I'm going to be hard on them. But, at the professional level, it's very transactional. I played 2 years with the A's, 2 years of independent ball. And it's truly, what have you done for me lately? And once you're done there, most of the time it's gone. You don't really have any relationships. You don't stay connected with those guys a lot. And with my girls, I want them to see that it's not going to be transactional. I want them to know that when they graduate, I'll help them. I'll write them letters of recommendation, whatever it may be. It's a family, and small window of time to play softball, baseball, whatever it is. And after that's over, I want them to understand that life's going to get a whole lot harder. And, I want to prepare them for that. So just showing them I care about them, that's the big thing.
We got to get to the lightning round. But before that, I actually want to ask about your professional baseball career, because you told me one time that you had a locker, correct me if I'm wrong, right next to Manny Ramirez?
Yep. I got to watch Manny. Manny was serving suspension in 2012, and they sent him to AAA, and he was in minor league spring training. His locker was about, 10 feet from me, and great guy. He was up in the cages at 5:30 every morning, and I almost got to face him. I faced Cespedes. I got to throw against Cespedes in 2012 in spring training, and I got him to ground into a double play with one out, and I was just hoping to face Manny was on deck, so that was kind of my claim to fame. Is, I got Cespedes out, but I wanted to pitch to Manny. Javi Baez hit a ball like 450 feet off of me, but that's all right though. He's it's good.
You guys got Columbia International on Friday, going right back down to South Carolina. What do you need to see out of your team?
We just got to make routine plays, not miss hit and run signs, and get sack bunts down when we need them, and just be aggressive. I tell my girls all the time, the only time I'm going to get upset with them really is when we're not playing aggressively. If we get thrown out, take an extra bag, that's okay. We're swinging and missing. If we're being aggressive, I can live with that. But just making routine plays and playing hard, that's the key for me.
All right, we're at the lightning round. We're closing out the interview portion here of Drew Bailey. We got Lexi Harmon from softball coming up next. But for Drew Bailey, Softball coach here at Bluefield College. What was your walkout song when you played baseball?
One of them's embarrassing, so I won't tell that one. The other one, my freshman year was my best year, and it was Guns N' Roses' "Welcome to the Jungle." It's kind of, cliche, but that's all right.
Scene setter. What is your favorite sports movie?
So Sandlot or Major League.
What is the dream vacation for you and your kids?
Vacation and kids is already hard. Disney World. My son Paxton asked me about it yesterday, so I told him the way my bank account's set up, we're gonna have to wait and see on that one.
I got to check into the savings.
Kevin Hart.
Best performance you've ever had as a player?
I pitched in front of about 9,000 people in single A against the Mets. I struck out, 10, 8, and 3 2/3 or something like that. Just one of those nights where everything I threw out of my hand was really good.
Who is the loudest player on the softball team?
Oh man, probably Lakin or Lexi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, for Drew Bailey, head coach of Bluefield College softball, what is your favorite part about Bluefield College?
Mike said the people, and I think I agree. Knowing that we're not just the kids, they're not just a number, that, that people know them, we care about them, and, big fish, little pond type deal. You can come here and be somebody, so I think that's huge.
Drew Bailey, everybody, head coach of softball. Yeah, thank you. All right, next up, last but not least, we have Lexi Harmon. Yeah, it's a little awkward. Well, thanks for coming. All good? You got to put that close to your mouth.
Okay.
Well, welcome to Applebee's.
Yes.
All right, Lexi, what did you think of the weekend for Bluefield College softball?
I think this weekend went well. The freshmen got their pitching time in, and I think overall we did great.
Well, you've had a heck of a start to the season, Lexi. Right now you're 2-1 with a 4.47 ERA. You're hitting .469 so far on the year. 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. How have you been able to be successful to start the season?
As a junior, I feel like I want this. I transferred from Florida because I was homesick, and I want my parents to watch me, and they've been at the games. So I think that plays a big factor with knowing they're there. And my teammates, they're just very supportive.
So I actually want to get to something else, but you brought up the JUCO experience. What exactly was that like for you?
It was fun. My freshman year, I was in Florida, so I was a while away from home. But it was kind of like laid back more, I guess. It was just intense, but it was more just like a laid back environment.
In what way?
It would just be like our own time. It would be set practices, but it would just be like we get our work in ourselves most of the time.
Got it. Were you guys any good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think that made you better as a player?
Yeah, because I didn't get necessarily all the playing time that I wanted to there. So I was observing a lot, and I guess it kind of kicked me into gear more to work harder.
So it's your second year at Bluefield College. What is the biggest thing you've been able to improve on in your play from your sophomore season to now your junior season?
I feel like my pitching, because at practice now this year we get to pitch. I feel like I get to pitch more than I did last year in practice time.
Why is that? Because there's more pitchers now, though, and you still pitch even more?
Yeah,
How does that work?
Well, with his facility, with Coach Bailey's facility, I feel like it gives us more room to do more stuff this year.
What are practices like for Bluefield College softball ran by Drew Bailey?
Well, in his facility, we'll have hitting stations. The pitchers will usually come early, and then we'll get our work in, and then we usually do hitting stations followed by conditioning.
So now we're going back to Tennessee. Tell me about your softball upbringing from the start.
Well, my uncle was a college softball coach at Hiawassee, and my cousin played at Arkansas Tech, and in high school that's where I had committed to, but then realized that it really wasn't for me anymore. And so, my freshman year I started at Loudon, and then my sophomore year I transferred to a private school that was really known for sports, and my junior and senior year, we won the state championship back to back.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that transition like from, obviously you're at a private school now, but going from a public to a private in high school?
Yeah, Loudon's a very small, like, country town, I guess you can say. So
Okay.
going to, like, the heart of, like, Knoxville, Tennessee, where you have more of, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't, like, I guess I was kind of the outcast at first, but then I adjusted to it.
So what is Loudon like? Is it comparable to Bluefield? Yeah.
Yes. It's very small, and, like, everybody knows pretty much everybody.
Now, when you move on from Bluefield College, do you think that's a type of life that you want to go towards, another small town life, or do you want to branch out a little bit more?
I think I want to do a little bit more because I want to be an elementary teacher. So I think I want to kind of go towards the private school in like a bigger area.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So do you have a favorite subject that you want to teach these kids in elementary school?
Maybe. I just want to teach them, I just want to be an impact on them. I think that's one of the I love kids. I have a huge heart for kids, and I think knowing that I can make an impact on little kids' life and knowing that, I was a reason the way they turn out to be, that's what I want.
Well, you can make an impact also for Bluefield College softball beyond the stats that you've been able to provide as a leader. How have you grown as a leader for the Rams from year 1 to year 2?
I think I've become more supportive of my teammates, not.
It's okay. It's a big question.
I'm I guess going back to the playing time in Florida, I didn't really get all the playing time that I wanted, so I've adjusted to I guess more of the playing time. But from Florida, I've also learned to be there for my teammates and support them and.
Yeah, no, it's great. Something about your team I think is interesting, and I'm not sure if any other Bluefield College team does this, but you guys have a TikTok account. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I guess it's TikTok's kind of becoming more of a trend, I guess. I've been in a few of the videos, but it's just fun. It's just.
Whose idea was that?
I guess kind of just maybe Lakin, Taylon, Gabby, because Gabby's big on the TikTok.
Right.
Yeah.
Whose idea was the TikTok? I think I saw it because it was on Twitter, where you guys were it was almost like a full house, like the start of the sitcom. It's like the everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that was Jessica Straight, yeah. That was a good one.
That was actually a really funny one. What's it like to travel with this group of girls?
It's fun. I consider them my best friends. I mean, of course, we're girls. We don't always, necessarily get along all the time, but we're all best friends, and I think that's just knowing, you can be relaxed and be yourself. You don't have to try to fit in. It's just, it's fun.
You guys got games going back down to South Carolina against Columbia International. What do you need to see out of you or yourself and your teammates to win the series?
Well, for me personally, this past weekend I didn't necessarily hit as well because when it's kind of slower pitching, I have a hard time adjusting to it. So I think for me it's focusing, getting my batting back to where it was. And then for the team, I think as long as we keep fighting and keeping the energy the whole game, then we'll be fine.
Well, before that, you've been a great guest on this show, Lexi. Give it a round of applause to Lexi right before she leaves. All right. We have our lightning round for Bluefield College junior pitcher Lexi Harmon. So, Lexi Harmon, what is your favorite show right now to binge on Netflix?
The Heart of Dixie. I just started it recently.
What's that about?
It's this doctor. She had big plans to go, to be a heart doctor, but then she went to a small town in Alabama to be
okay. Gotcha. Who was your favorite athlete growing up?
I love Jackie Traina. She played for Alabama.
Who tells the best stories on the softball team?
Taylon.
You're stuck in the wilderness, and you need one teammate with you that's going to help you survive to get out of it. Who is that teammate?
Probably be Taylon again, honestly.
Why is that?
She's funny, and she's very smart.
Okay. Funny and smart to get you out of the woods. What is your favorite pregame meal?
I love pizza, stuffed crust pizza.
Before a game?
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, for Lexi Harmon, as we close out the relaunch of the Bluefield College Coaches Show, what is your favorite thing about Bluefield College?
I love the people. Like I said, you don't have to try to be something you're not. It's just a laid-back environment. I love playing for Coach Bailey. He's a great person, and he cares about you on and off the field. And I think that's something that you want in a coach, is someone who cares about you not only in your sport that you're playing.
Well put by Lexi Harmon to close out the relaunch of the Bluefield College Coaches Show. We will be back on March 9th here at Applebee's at 7 p.m. For Lexi Harmon, my name is Bailey Engel. We'll see you next time.